So hello, all right, guys. Yeah, caught us mid laugh there.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hi.
So should we do this
All
whole?
good. Am I still behind?
Yeah, no, you're all right. We'll do this whole like pretending we're
Yeah.
just meeting each other just now thing.
Oh, hey George, how's it going?
Hey,
Like that
guys.
chat.
How's it going? You know, we're so
Just
smooth.
logged on.
Just logged on.
Yeah.
And immediately logged on straight into the podcast. You know, so it's
Yeah.
excellent.
I just woke up actually on the podcast.
So tell us about your frustrations today, Simon, mate. Share with us your frustrations. Your work.
Well, I intended to do a lot of work today and got home early. Finished the gym. Finished actual work at 12 o'clock. Got
Beautiful.
home, made myself a banging lunch. I made myself some cashew chicken, delicious. And then went to start my work and then realized that my laptop is in work.
Dear me.
Yeah, and do you know what's even worse? I can't even remember any passwords to get into like Gmail accounts or any of that. Man, I literally I change passwords every week.
That's the thing, man. Never auto save passwords.
Yeah,
you have to remember
never.
them because it ruins you. You know the passwords they give you when it's like that long.
Yeah, FD.
The suggested passwords.
$$.
Never do that.
Nah.
Never do it because it ruins you when you log somewhere else.
But do you not have it saved in your keychain thing?
No, well, no, I don't have my laptop, so.
Yeah, but what phone do you have?
Samsung.
Oh, well, that's
is that explaining all then, does it?
Yeah.
I have an Apple computer. I have an Apple computer.
Well, yeah.
So I'm halfway there. Like.
Living on a prayer. You know, that joke.
But it's frustrating nonetheless.
Drop a Bon Jovi reference, George. Podcast is over. I'm quitting. Right, see you next week. No.
God. What's worse is that you know that it's a Bon Jovi
reference. Don't act like it's...
that's true,
Don't act like it's... You know, we've all danced to Bon Jovi at Cadillacs.
Yeah.
Actually, Jack, you probably haven't, in fairness.
Probably not.
No.
Have you ever been to Cadillacs?
No, I don't know what that is.
Oh, man, it was where Walcott House is now.
Oh, okay, right.
It was the sleaziest club in Bath.
Oh, the carpets were class,
Terrible.
man. It was like some form of like suction going on because of the amount of chewing gum was on them. So you had to really work.
Just have a specific pair of shoes for them.
Yeah.
Oh, man, bowling shoes.
Yeah, there was always a fight. There was always a fight on the dance floor somewhere. If you stood on top of the dance floor for long enough, you would see some sort of carnage. You know, so I used to go there just for that. And be like, what time would it happen? That's the question I always ask myself. Would it be early, you know, or would I have to wait till 2 a.m.? Oh, there it is. Brilliant. It happened.
It's happening.
Sometimes they were like a little scuffle, and sometimes it was like two lads and then two more lads come from one end, two more lads, and then loads of lads are in the middle. Like the bouncers are just like, we'll wait for this to finish. And,
like that Weatherspoons in, was it Trowbridge, where literally the whole bar was having a fight?
Yeah,
that's right.
What would you do as the barman then? You just kind of stand there and go.
I would just stand there. I wouldn't even
get. I'll wait there. I'll
wait.
Just
probably get out and record it for World Star or something.
Yeah, get paid.
Look what happened here, you know.
Yeah.
You know, so or you could like post it on social media. You know, and like get some, you know, pretend you're outraged by it. You know, just pretend
get over 50 likes and think you're really good.
Yeah,
50 likes. Wow.
What do they call it now?
I reckon.
You know, where you put something out there to pretend that you're a good person, so you can get plaudits for it. Look what I don't like.
Yeah.
Put a long post about this is the type of thing I don't like. I forgot that there's a term for it. You know.
They're afraid.
But I'll think of it in a bit. But we should probably start talking about fitness and stuff.
Press up and that. Burpees and boiled eggs.
How's your training going?
Okay. No, there's a pre and postnatal company just because it's horrendous. So there's a pre and postnatal company. I think it's based in London. The name is Burpees and Babies or something, and I couldn't think of a more inappropriate name for a pre and postnatal company where people are pregnant and like burpees alone, if you're not pregnant, stupid idea. Burpees when you are pregnant, the stupidest idea. So why they've called it burpees and bumps or burpees and babies, whatever it is.
Yeah, just kneeing your baby every time you do
terrible.
it. Yeah.
Like, the worst name. Like, no.
Things will be
they just were like, oh, BB, it works.
Yeah.
Yeah, all alliteration.
BB. Yeah, BB. I'm still trying to think of that phrase. Right, it doesn't matter. I'll think of it in the podcast. I'm just going to shout when I think of it. I'm going to shout it in the podcast.
Yeah, just
wherever we
mid sentence.
Shout it. Okay. So how's your training? I did ask, but you got into the babies and burpees thing. Biceps and babies would have been good.
Yeah, better.
Yeah.
Better. You have to do a bicep curl to pick them up almost, or kind of like a clean.
Yeah. I'm just trying to fight all the things that I want to say in my head here.
Training is going pretty well. Training's going well. Doing this program, I got sent this program by someone I used to work with, from someone whose name I can't remember, but it's a clusters program.
Yeah.
So it's a hypertrophy clusters program. It's good. It's enjoyable because you can smash it out in 45 minutes, which is super useful, obviously, with work and stuff. And it's good. It's just simple upper, lower. No, incorrect. Upper, lower, upper, full body split. So Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. But yeah, I really enjoy it just because it's quite fast paced. And I'm sure you guys might be the same, where sometimes I don't want to write my own program. And so it's just easy to know I don't have to think about it. I do it and then it's done.
I do, yeah. I do hate being part of the programs that I have to write.
It's because we always write the things that we want to do and then we never change the exercise.
Yeah.
Back squats, RDLs.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen.
That's why getting a coach is so good.
I know.
Plug.
Yeah. Maybe I'll get a coach, but you
should, man, or you should go and learn from one.
Well, that's kind of what I'm trying to do. It's but not working very well, no. But yeah, I've seen some of your training, Si.
My training's like I'm in like a phase of been writing a program for like 4 weeks and still haven't finished it.
Yeah.
And that's only phase 1. That's like 3 weeks long. So I've been writing a 3-week long phase for 4 weeks. I don't know how that's working out.
I've just not changed what I've done since the start of lockdown. I've just I'll just continue to do this for ages. It's just
still progressing each week. It doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah. I tend to regress each week.
Yeah.
No, I am still progressing.
You know what I am doing though recently? I do 6 days a week. It's still a similar pattern, but like my volume on legs is so beautiful because it's just half of what I used to do. It's half. Like I don't have to do 400 exercises for quads. Well, I'm doing 2 days.
The total is more, right?
The total's more.
The total weekly,
15 sets per muscle group, so quads and hamstrings, but it's over 2 sessions. So
so in session, your volume isn't.
Volume's not that crazy. It's quite nice.
Yeah, there's something terrible about multiple sets on legs, isn't there?
I was excited about going to a new gym. So my old stomping ground, where I sort of like my second fitness job, where I spent a lot of time in, they changed the gym, and I knew they had some new equipment. I was like, oh yeah, cool, gotta get in there. Hack squats are like one of my favorite leg exercises.
Oh, I like them.
Just because I can smash it and not have to worry. You worry about technique, but not as much on a back squat. You can trash it. But then they have that half seat hack squat. So it's basically like a leg press turned upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a little pad sits in your lower back and you hack squat. So you can't go as deep and it's not the same pattern. So that's annoyed me because I was so excited for that. But I did do 1,000 leg extensions though. Yeah. I did so many leg extensions. It was so fun.
I love leg extension, and I get a bit I never know where to go with it because like the minute I put the weight up, I just it just starts moving from A to B. But then like I put the weight down and it's just so burny. And I know I want the burny. But sometimes I put the weight up to be like, I'm still progressing, but I don't want that level of burn. So I'm just, I know what I should do, but, so.
Can you handle it?
Yeah, can I handle it? Because there's days where you get to 10, you'd be like, I could definitely do 15, 20 more here. And there's days you get to 10 in the same weight and you're like, well, I'm not sure I'm ready for this pain today.
That's enough.
Not today.
Not today. It's just
what you should do, George, is go in there and do 4 sets of 50 and then try a 1 rep max back squat.
Yeah, I mean, that's activation,
really good
right?
for growth.
Quad activation.
Yeah, it's like pre-activation.
Pre-activation,
like
yeah.
Pre-activation.
No one.
Your hamstrings and quads
can no
glutes
one
are
do
fresh.
that, though? By the way, can no one who's listening do that?
Nobody do that. Don't let anybody listen to that, what I just said.
Just, just to be clear. But yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, so
well, I did use a weighted prowler actually instead of RDLs, back extensions, GHRs, leg curls, all that sort of good stuff, and hip thrusts for hamstrings and the posterior chain. I did a good couple of rounds on a heavy weighted prowler, which was lovely. That was so nice, man. And it fried me, but without any soreness, which was beautiful.
And tell the people why there was no soreness, Simon.
Because there's now eccentric loading.
There's no eccentric loading. What is eccentric loading?
When you're lowering the weight, that's where you get the soreness from. That's where you get the ripping and the tearing. So if you did a back squat and you only picked the weight up at the bottom end and drove it up and then racked it up again and did that 100 times, you're not going to get any soreness because you're not lowering the weight. It's lowering the weight that hurts a lot. Whereas Jack, all of us used to use it, didn't we? That it's really good. They throw things like sled drags and prowlers and all that in days after you've hit legs hard, because again, you're not hitting them, you're not leaving them sore. It's quite good for recovery, but you're still actually training the posterior chain or the quads if you're in sled drags really hard and promoting.
Especially if you struggle with knee pain.
Absolutely.
Such a useful alternative to hit lower body. Like if you can't do a lot of knee flexion work, like obviously if it's possible, try and sort out your knee pain, but such a good alternative if you've got access to it to get on.
But actually sled drags, we used to use them a lot for knee pain as well, didn't we? So if you could do the slow version of it where you're getting that full extension on the leg.
Yeah. Because you can build up the strength there with that. Yeah. And
it's about dramatic knee flexion and going through that pattern. It works really well.
That's it. Yeah. Most people are quite comfortable on that amount of knee like bend, aren't they? That angle is so small.
Yeah.
I've been using obviously in the studios here, we don't have a prowler or sled or anything. It's not big enough. But I've been experimenting with basically similar, but you just attach a handle, V-bar handle I've been using against the cable machine, and then just start right close to it and then just walk away. So load it up and then literally just pull the cable. So is it the same? Probably not. But it works the same. It's where you're holding the loading is different. So obviously normally you go around the waist with a belt maybe, but you can still pull, but it's the same thing. And then I have a guy who's got bad arthritis in his knees. And so lots of knee flexion, it just doesn't work. But obviously I don't want to, we can't just ignore his quads. Otherwise we're just going to end up with another imbalance. So that's what I've been doing with him, and it works all right because then you get the eccentric as well because he has to control it in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which you don't get with a sled drag.
With sled, yeah. So you're doing a full move. Does he get? Tell me this: does he get exhausted from it? Is it challenging? Because I'm sure you're getting him to slow it down on the way back in.
Exactly. Yeah, the hardest, the way out's pretty. We've only done it a couple of times. We're still building it up and just getting used to it. But the way in is the hardest because obviously you're just stopping yourself just being pulled in through the cable. And so it's just learning just to sit into the hips a bit more and just make sure you load the legs correctly rather than just with your upper body controlling it like that.
That's a cool idea. I like that.
Cool. All right. So we wanted to talk today a bit about continue about the nutrition and COVID, and if us guys have got any kind of advice for the people out there who, COVID's still around, people are still worried about it, especially now that the case numbers are starting to go up. So, Jack, what's your advice to people nutrition-wise? Just as general as you can be. I know it's, we always say.
The nutrition advice I always give to people is firstly, it's completely individual, which we've said before many times, but I think people still need to hear that point. What may work for your mate at your Zoom class or whatever class you're going to, like, oh, this diet works really well. Great. It may not work well for you. So by all means, I would never say, like, there's lots of diets that get loads of shit. So like keto gets loads of shit for like maybe good reasons. But then if someone came to me and was like, I've been doing keto for 4 weeks and I feel fantastic, I felt the best I've ever felt, fine. Who am I to say, stop doing that because this journal says this? Sometimes, especially these days with the way social media is, basically to get noticed, I feel, with, especially when people are putting information about nutrition and training plans, a lot of the times people can be polarizing to be polarizing so that it gets engagement. And I think that creates a negative effect on the information that goes out, because it's like, it'd be stupid if I went on social media and was like, just choose what's right for you. Because, well, great, this sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but I'm sure you both agree it's actually the better advice, because I would never tell someone to not go vegetarian. Do I believe it's the best protocol for someone to do? Maybe not. I think there are benefits maybe other way, but if they feel amazing on it and they're able to get the results they want and they're able to hit the protein requirements they're able to do just without meat, or they supplement it however it want, fine, crack on. So I think the best thing to do if you're unsure is experiment with things. Personally, generally, if you're looking to really change your nutrition, firstly, experiment, find what works for you. But the main thing you have to do, just like with training, is write it all down, because otherwise you're going to have no idea what works for you. So if you know that eating beef, having steak makes you feel like shit the next day, probably cut that out a bit, or have it much less.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and I think especially now, because if there is another lockdown or anything like that, if people end up on furlough or whatever happens with jobs and life, you can't really control it. But the one thing you can control is what you do. And so nutrition is a massive part of that. Yeah. So I think obviously during the first lockdown, people found nutrition a bit quite hard, because obviously everyone was like, oh, Deliveroo's there, it's easy to get food delivered, you can gain a little bit, you're not moving as much. But, which is fine, like if it helps you, like, it's not terrible to do that within reason. But food plays such a massive impact on how you feel day to day. So it's a good time to be able to nail down what works for you, what foods work for you, depending on how you feel. And so use the time now to definitely work out what works well for you so that you can feel good every day.
It's funny you say that as well, though, because like we've done that with nutrition, probably with loads and loads of clients, where it's not until you start feeling really good that you realize how bad you feel.
Yeah.
Or how bad you have felt before, where your body just adapts to it. You just, if you feel like crap for 10 years, then feeling like crap's pretty normal.
Yeah.
Well, your 60% becomes your 100%. You just have no idea.
That's it. And then you show people some decent nutrition, and then they're like, oh my God, my energy levels are up. I've got this. I'm sleeping so much better. My concentration's better. And you're like, that's how you should be feeling on a daily. And that is a good point. It's just to try and work out, because there's like, I'm going from, this is from a dog perspective. If my dog goes to the toilet and it's not very good and it's not easy to pick up, I start wondering what that dog ate, and then I try and remove that from the diet. But not to be disgusting, but how many people go to the toilet and it doesn't come out very good, and it's on a daily basis?
They probably have no idea. Yeah.
Well, the many that I've watched. No, I'm joking.
Yeah. Weird hobby you got there. You know what I mean? Like, so many people don't have regular bowel movements where it is consistent, and we just ignore it, and it should not be ignored. It's one of the telltale signs that something you're eating or how your lifestyle is at the minute is not working for your body currently.
Yeah.
So paying attention.
What do they call the gut? Like the second brain or whatever it's called.
Yeah, the enteric nervous system, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
And a lot of the when we talk about coronavirus and every other virus and illness that's out there, the gut has a massive role to play in the immune system. If you're not going properly, then your immune system is likely compromised. And if your immune system is likely compromised, what's going to happen when you get a virus? Okay, so yeah, that's a great point. I think we need to consider. You need to find out what.
Yeah, it sounds disgusting and stuff, but like everybody knows. Everybody goes to the toilet. Everybody knows the crack. Like,
Everyone does it.
And I mean,
don't say everyone knows a crack when we're referencing toilets, man. What's that?
But we know when it's good and we know when it's bad, but we know most of the time people just don't react or do anything about it. Where, again, if I go back to my dog, if my dog does it, I'm like, right, I'm going to change its food. I'm going to make sure it didn't have this. I maybe fed it too much of that, and then I'd control it. But obviously we struggle with that internally because it's on ourselves and we like all the foods and yada, yada, yada. But you're right there with the immune system. That means that you're not possibly absorbing most of that food that's coming in. You're possibly losing a lot of minerals when it's going out. And then again, it's going to compromise that immune system because you're going to be in a deficiency as well. And going back to that question that you first asked as well, I still am on the vitamin D hype. Like, I haven't seen anything that is against the vitamin D use. I've only seen positive, only seen good results. It's not a case of it's going to stop you dying or anything, but the research there shows that it has a significant effect on the people who have higher vitamin D levels and the outcome of their symptoms in the virus as well. So why would you not? If it helps you 2%, why would you not do it?
Yeah, I mean,
especially in a time like this, it's very inexpensive. I mean, we don't think twice about going and buying takeaways. We don't think twice about going out and buying new clothes. We don't think twice about, going on day trips. You're just buying random crap on the internet. But when it comes to supplements, you're like, oh, no, it's like £28. Like, I don't know about that. And you're like, £28, man. You just went to McDonald's.
Probably spend that on coffees.
Yeah, that's it. In 1 week, you spent it on coffee, and that coffee ain't doing as much as you is that vitamin D. And and I know it's a supplement and stuff, but we live in a country where we don't get that much light. We don't have jobs
especially
where we're
now
able to go off on siesta in the afternoon. Yeah, especially now. And we generally spend more time indoors. So arm yourself up to the nines, get yourself some vitamin D, and then the rest of it for me is try and eat some real food and include some vegetables in there. You know what I mean? Just get some vegetables in there. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, it's a key point. I think, and nail that down before you go to get supplements.
Yeah, even if you do that first, like try and actually get some veg into your diet. If you eat 3 meals a day, you don't have to eat 3 portions or a portion in each meal, but you could double up on the other meals. If you don't like having veg for breakfast, you can have 2 portions at lunch or 2 portions at dinner time, whatever. Just get some real food in there and have some raw. I would always advocate having some leafy greens or something like that instead of just always cooked veg.
On the topic of veg and on the topic of going to the loo regularly, how many people have we heard talking about how they all of a sudden feel a bit more clogged up once they've upped their vegetable intake?
Yeah.
Now,
mostly
perhaps we should talk to people about what they can do there. I think the first thing that strikes me is the water intake. That's the first thing I would have a look at. What do you guys think?
Yeah, definitely. Well, if you went from 0 today to 10 servings, you're going to struggle with digestion on that.
You answer it, George, because you don't get to speak that much.
No, I don't get. Well, we all know.
Answer your own question. Go on. Spotlight's on you. Here you go. Here's your moment. Ready? Ready?
So pleased.
You go.
Shine.
I really like
Simon on mute. Me and Simon on mute. You go.
I can actually mute
now.
I'm in control. I can mute whenever I want, really.
Imagine George just turns us off and just has his own part.
When I want to talk, I could just do it because it's my meeting. So one of the there's different types of fiber, right? We know that, and some fiber doesn't require the presence of water so much, and some does because it's slower to digest. Because it's fibrous, it just takes a little bit longer going through our body, which is a great way of keeping yourself full up if you're on a fat loss mission, by the way. If you're finding yourself hungry, lots and lots of veggies will help you there. So they need water to help them on their way. Okay, sorry for the hand gestures. Yeah, Simon started it. So
I wish I never brought it up.
So, it's important. You should have brought it up. It's important. So what I would always look at is, look, how much water are you getting in? And most people, I would say, getting about a litre, maybe a little less when we first see them. So I just get them to up that, maybe even a little more than I would want them to, especially if they're getting 3 or 4 pieces of fibrous leafy greens like kale, for example. Yeah. Because I found it does help. It does help them go. Another one that another thing that is fruit. If they eat a little bit more fruit, I find that makes things easier to, I've got to stop doing the hand gestures, don't I? But I wouldn't go down the line of, any aids or anything like that. There are some supplements that I know of, but let's not go into that. Let's talk about what you can do without having to buy any supplements. So add the water, maybe a little more than 2 liters, and that should be enough to help. And then a couple of pieces of fruit as well as the added leafy green veg. Anything else from you guys? Can you add to that, or do you feel I've covered that?
No, I think you did really well.
Yeah, but also I think people don't understand that if you eat real food, anyway, you generally will get about a liter of water from that. You should do anyway. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can
water
do
content in food. So, but that's if you're eating real food, single ingredient stuff, rather than being so processed. But yeah, water intake. I think we talked about it ages ago. Most chemical reactions in the body are happening in the presence of water. So, if you're deficient and or your water intake is low, then guess what? Everything else is going to suffer. I mean, the effects on strength that we talked about as well before, Jack, is massive if you're just 1% depleted.
Oh, with hydration, yeah, it's huge. Anyway, I mean, we've spoken about it before. Daily, anyway, not even thinking about hydration, your strength can vary by 30%. And it could be, I don't know what it is, the stat-wise for women, especially like during their cycle, because that affects it even more. So, it could be more than 50% probably. So if you then add on top the lack of hydration, you're just doing yourself a massive disservice.
Yeah, actually. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally. So I think those are some good. But Simon, have you got any points? Any more points? Oh, you just made a load of points. Sorry, I should make
your protein.
I get your protein. It's that's working for you. My exes didn't really take off, but I have stopped all social media since starting lockdown. Actually, for some reason.
Since apart from, they work.
Yeah, well, apart from like the shares and the likes and the great posts, guys, that I've been just so everyone knows, I'm watching.
Yeah, you're there. Stealth.
Reaping.
Yeah. Any more advice, guys, on that before we move on? I wanted to talk a little bit about the environments of the gyms, a little bit about training as well. But anything else on nutrition before we go?
Get your protein.
Stick to the basics. Don't overcomplicate it.
Cool. And talk about training a little bit, guys, and how important exercise can be for people's, to counteract, stuff like the coronavirus. How important is it to be exercising regularly? Not just for that, just for your health, right? It's
exercise is so good, man. Exercise. I know we do long steady state cardio has a lot more effects and depletion of like micro minerals and vitamins and minerals, but not massively. If you're still eating enough food and so on in a day, but it has a lot to do with your immune response as well. Your body is working so much more efficiently. You got to think the increased blood flow and all that sort of stuff is going to be helping things and nutrients get around the body. And then on top of that, improves your mood, reduces your stress, which are all key things for actually improving your immune system. I mean, you could be the healthiest man in the world, but stressed out to the max with no relief. And guess what? Your immune system is going to suffer.
Yeah.
So it's a careful balance, because it can go one way where it helps you, health-wise with your immune system and your stress. But then you can go the other way where it can actually be detrimental because you can do too much. So like when we see people doing like 3 classes back to back, they do like 1 circuit class, 1 spin class, and then 1 kettlebell class.
Yeah.
I mean, firstly, don't. And then if you're allowed to do it, change gym, because that's not the
if it's a one-off situation where you're like you've been training for it, like, do you know what I mean, where it's been
and then you've got like 2 weeks off afterwards, it's fine.
But
then go do a circuit class the next day. Like if you're doing that sort of training, which is fine, you can do that sort of training, it's fine, especially if it helps relieve your stress and it helps you, like, fine, a couple of times a week. But if you're doing continuous, that sort of training where your heart rate is through the roof continuously 5 times a week, maybe more, that's the time where you can actually burn the candles at both ends, especially if you're working at the same time as well, and work can be stressful. Then that way you'd end up actually going the opposite way, where the exercise you're doing is actually bad for your health. And then you end up tired all the time, and you're probably not eating right for it. And so then you're actually compromising your health rather than doing it any benefit. So I think a key element, absolutely exercise, I'm not saying, don't go exercise because it can be bad for you. It's more get a good balance of what's worked for you. And the long, slow duration stuff, like Simon said, absolutely key. Like everyone should be walking. Like walking is literally the best thing you could probably do for yourself. If you just did that solidly 7 times a week, not even 5, every day.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
We're designed to do it, right?
So walking is just the more I get on the hype of walking, and the more I experience, like my whole fat loss thing this summer, I only walked. For cardio, and I increased my steps, and no impact, no joint soreness, no fatigue at my hips and my knees. And you know what? It was enjoyable. It was nice.
You got to get outside.
And it's got to be more beneficial than running all the time. You know what I mean? Because you're not depleting your body stores so much. And if I have faulty mechanics, my body ain't gonna know. I'm only walking.
Yeah, so
especially if you can get outside in nature, especially like especially here, like it's different for where you guys are, because getting into the countryside is a lot easier than
we're there. Really.
So yeah, you're doing it. So especially with everyone working from home, like now everyone's getting told, if you can work from home, do it. Get outside, because one, you're going to feel better, like we said, body wise, like you will just feel less stiff, less achy. But the studies and science behind how it'll actually help you do well in your job in terms of concentration at work, creativity, huge. Google it. Get outside and walk, even if it's raining, put a coat on, use an umbrella, get outside.
It's so true, man. It is so true.
So we've got two ends. We've got 2 ends there with the exercise thing, and I'm glad because actually that was going to be the next thing I talked about. So Jack, thanks for covering that. Reading my get out of here, all right? Get out of my head. You know?
I planted it in there a couple of years ago.
So that's really great, and you made the point that I was going to bring up about. The harder people train, the more sessions they do, the more they overdo it, the much more likely you're going to make bad choices food-wise, which again, you continue to make those bad choices with the lack of recovery. Food choices continue to prevent the recovery from happening, and guess what is impaired? Your immune system again. So again, going back,
bad cycle.
When we talk about the virus again, when we're making that point about it, these are the things we're gonna hammer this in and just make sure that you guys really know that all these things can help you and all these things can hinder as well. And let's say, for example, we have overdone the training over the last month, multiple sessions that are far too difficult to recover from, and then you get an injury, a bad injury that starts keeping you up at night. Guess what else is compromised? Your sleep. And then from that, once again, your immune system is down. Wake up, your immune system is down. So take care of yourselves, okay? Exercise, but exercise smartly. Make mostly the right choices with your nutrition, and try and affect your sleep. And, you're going to put yourself, and with the vitamin D that Simon mentioned, you're going to put yourself in a much better place to combat any virus, not just the coronavirus.
Like a classic thing that I always find, like hearing about it, seeing it, talking to people, is when people will do the type of training they're doing, whatever it may be, and it'll be a lot. like especially the class style, and then they'll go, oh, but it's okay because, or not, it's okay, but they'll be like, oh, but I'm reducing my carbs. You know, well, why? And it's like, oh, because obviously I want to change my body composition. It's like, right, but you're going to 6-7 classes a week. You're doing 2 strength sessions plus 4 classes. What gives you energy? Oh, carbs. Right. And you're not eating them?
Yeah.
No. Why? You need that, and then they're tired all the time. And the analogy I like is if you take your car, put it in second gear and drive it all the way down the motorway at 70 miles an hour, what's going to happen to your car?
Wrecked.
Yeah, probably fuck up and break down. Same thing's going to happen to you. So you have to have that balance where you get outside and just have the day where you do your long, slow duration. You sit in a nice gear, you just go along, you don't do anything taxing that day, you give your body a chance to reset, but then you can then go hard the next day. Because you still need to have an adaptation. You still need a stimulus where your body will adapt to it. So we're not saying don't train ever, train hard. That's silly. But you have to find, like we said, have that right balance throughout your week.
Yeah.
Ebb and flow.
Yeah. And we go back to also the classes thing is like, I know we have talked about it and I just want to stress on it again, but the fact that people may do 5 days of classes where it's 5 full body sessions where they are physically not even equipped or able or have the recovery ability to even do that. It's just mad, but it happens so many times. You'd go and do circuit class and then you do like some sort of HIIT class where it's basically just a circuit class, and then you'll go and do strong class, which again is just a circuit class. Do you know what I mean? And they're doing these back to back and wondering why they're fatigued. And you're like, you would never, unless you're obviously on a lot of steroids and from the Eastern Bloc, would you do squats 7 days a week? You wouldn't. Your legs, it would be a very, very short time you'd be squatting 7 days a week, because injury will come knocking quick and your body will be fried, your nervous system will be fried. And sometimes it's there's not enough information in the centers. They tell people like, look, you probably shouldn't do that. Not enough guidance around.
No, it's true.
People, you could come in and do a core session or a circuit training session, then come in and maybe do a cardio only, a spinning or something like that. Yeah, that's okay, but not another smash session. You can't do circuits, kettlebells, strongman, kettlebells, circuits. It's all the same thing. I don't care what the modality is. If you're lifting weights, it's all the same. It's a metabolic output, but you're doing muscle damage every day. And sadly enough, muscles only recover and get stronger when you are resting.
Yeah. And then we go back to the cycle, the sleep, the food.
Yeah, that's it. Then you want to sleep and you're still fried and forever. So look after yourself. Just people be smart about it. Look after yourself. If you feel tired after doing a load of classes, have some days off.
Yeah,
and
totally.
About it, like it's grand. But
but people, yeah, exactly. People freak out if they miss a session or miss 2 sessions. Like, well, you're gonna be fine. Like, you're not gonna lose. What if you're trying to gain muscle? You're not gonna lose muscle in 2 days. You're not gonna suddenly gain 5 kilograms in 2 days. Yeah. Like, you're gonna be absolutely fine. One hot day doesn't make a summer. Like, one day off, you're gonna be fine. If anything, you'll probably get better results because of it.
Yeah. I did that post this week on steps and calories. It's between 400 and 500 calories for 10,000 steps a day. I mean, that's more than what most people will burn in the gym anyway, regardless. So if you want the day of recovery and you normally hit 5,000-6,000 steps a day, maybe go to 15,000 steps, because guess what? You'll burn loads of calories and you will feel absolutely fine.
Better.
Yeah, I mean, some people might look at these devices that monitor their calories that they've burnt while in a session, and I think what people need to remember is that includes the calories you would have burnt just stood there. I don't know if I've covered that in the past before, but most of these, there's very few that will calculate the excess calories. Most calories are like, in this hour, you would have naturally burnt X amount. And because you moved more than you normally do, you've burnt this amount, and they put it together. Okay, so you haven't burnt 500 calories. You've probably burnt an extra 200-300 calories. And if you were walking around the whole time for that hour, you would have naturally burnt that bit anyway. And because it was highly more intense, you burnt a bit more. So just remember that. So that's where, if you look at go, oh no, that's wrong because I burnt 600 here. Well, no, you probably burnt 3. And if you're lucky.
And it doesn't matter if you have no idea what's going in anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That is,
it's irrelevant. If you don't know what's going in, what does it matter?
Yeah.
That is it there, man. And people will come, only burned 400 calories a session. I'm only gonna, how many calories did you eat today? I don't know, but I've only burned 400 calories, and last week I did 500.
Great.
What's your goal? Weight loss? Right, okay, yeah. So or you could have just maybe reduced your calories by about 200 or something, and maybe done a bit of an easier session, and life would have continued on perfectly, and you would have got some.
Find out what you're eating anyway, because you have no idea.
Yeah.
Because it really doesn't matter if you're eating like 2,500 calories every day.
Yeah. Man, we're a perfect example. Like, we can train 8 months of the year and not change our diet and not lose any weight. And I train 6 days a week. I don't lose weight. I absolutely don't lose weight because I'm balancing calories out. It's only when I want to lose weight, what I do, I start paying attention to how many calories I eat, and that's the first move.
Yeah, and then you move more, right? With your walking, like
But the first step is
food.
That is my very first step.
Find out where you're at.
Yeah.
Am I eating? Oh, right. Could I make changes? Yeah. All right, then let's try that.
Yeah, totally. So on this topic of exercise and gyms, with the new measures that they're putting in place, I just want to point out to everyone, and the guys at Stanza Fitness here did a post about this. But I think it's really important because I think people need to keep working out, need to keep exercising, in the guidelines that we've just given out here. But the statistics for people contracting coronavirus in a gym environment through the track and trace system is really, really low. Okay, the gyms are probably one of the safest places to working environments to be in at the moment. So if you guys are concerned,
was there like out of 22 million visits since lockdown was over, there's only been like 78 cases?
Yeah.
So like for every 100,000 people, there's 0.34 cases. It's nothing.
Yeah, I think.
But it's true. We're social distancing. You don't do that in a pub. We're cleaning everything that we touch. You don't also do that in pubs or clubs or shops or anything like that. There's so many measures being taken into consideration that it's quite hard. It's quite hard to be contracting these unless you are. But no one wants that closeness in the gym. I think people who are going to the gym are really aware of space, and they're taking it seriously, and then they are cleaning everything because it's protocol and the gym says so. So the place is really good, the cleanest it's ever been. Yeah,
totally. And there's an argument that this should carry on in gyms, right? Because it's
absolutely.
So like you take the places
public one.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you take our places, for example, where we're one-on-one, it's much easier for us to take care of our own environment. But actually, Stanza Fitness here, the members are doing exactly the same. The members are just as concerned. They're just as, on the whole, I don't think I've seen any that haven't been. So they're taking their equipment, they're using the cleaning points that we've got to wipe the equipment down. They're kind of doing the job for us as well here. Obviously we do extra just to make sure, so.
I think you have more chance of catching it buying groceries than you do in the gym. And that's only for the fact is that I know they're bringing the rule in now, but up until now, the people who are working in the shops don't have to wear masks, but we do. So when they're chatting to each other and stacking the shelves and spitting all over your food unintentionally, you know what I mean? They could be asymptomatic teenagers. It could be asymptomatic teenagers. It's carried droplets in your breath. So if they're chatting to anybody while they're stacking these shelves or touch their face and touch your product and you don't clean that product, or you touch your face before you get the chance to sanitize your hands, you know what I mean? How many times do you touch your face in the supermarket, or how many items have you picked up where it could have been 30 different people touched? If you buy 50 items, it potentially could have been 50 people.
Exactly. Imagine the avocado. Imagine the number of people touch your avocado. Everyone squishes an avocado. You see if it's soft or not.
Yeah. There you go. No one's cleaning those tins of tomatoes individually. Nobody's cleaning those. But we in gyms, and I don't know anyone who works in a gym who hasn't said the same thing at the moment, are cleaning the tomatoes in the grocery shop around the corner. All right. No, are cleaning all our equipment all of the time. Okay. So if you're worried about the gym environment, don't be. Okay. It's probably the safest work environment you can be in well, at least in the UK, because these statistics are not just for the areas that are low contraction rates, they're also for the areas through the whole of the UK, I believe. So
it would include the Bolton and the Manchester and the Newcastle. It'll be like a one stat across the whole of UK. Which stands really good in our favor, because exercise is one of those things that makes people feel good. And I guarantee through lockdown, if they still had gyms open, obviously we took the measures because that's what we needed to do. But if there was exercise allowed to happen, sure, people would have felt so much better about themselves.
I think so.
Morale would have been so much higher. Like people would have generally, because there's a sense of purpose. Then you're going out the day, you relieve some stress that you might need to relieve. You feel better about yourself, and then I think overall as well, like the weight gain that happened in lockdown would have slowed down for a lot of people, and we already know that weight gain or being overweight or obese is extremely dangerous for COVID.
Boris Johnson's lost weight on that point, hasn't he?
He hired a trainer, didn't he?
Yeah, I was looking at it, I thought, all right, you're listening. Yourself, you know.
He's been listening.
Still open the pubs before the gyms, though.
Yeah.
We're going to start this war on obesity by opening the pubs and getting everybody to eat out as much as possible.
Happy with the changes with regards to the hospitality world, though, with the pubs being closed at 10 and table service in every pub?
I mean, it's fine, but I feel like it's going to be like when you're at school, where the teacher tells the whole class to shut up, but then there's 3 or 4 kids that don't shut up and carry on, and then the whole class is in trouble. And so I think like there'll be people that ruin it for us all, and the measures will get tougher, I think, because people won't listen to it. There'll be more people that do what they've been doing, just ignore it, it's fine. And then suddenly there'll be tough measures. That's why I just annoyingly feel like it's going to happen. Like this is just the start for something.
I mean, I don't
go on our like political.
I don't. No one knows,
but you hear all these debates all the time, and people being like, you know, I think it's a conspiracy, or I think we're blown out of proportion and all that. No matter what you think, right? No matter what your opinion might be or what the facts are, if the cases go up, the country will shut down. That's it. That's all you need to know. No matter what happens, if the cases go up, the country will shut down. So whether or not you think it's fake, whether or not you think it's ridiculous, you have to wear face masks here, or you have to go in by 10 p.m., follow the rules, because if all the cases go up, the whole country shuts down, and then nobody has any fun.
Not the
It's
teenagers.
a disaster.
Not the people who run businesses, not the pub owners who have been ignoring social distancing. Nobody has fun. And then we're all like, oh, this is crap, because you didn't follow the measures. The measures are set by the government. Just follow them. It's not too hard. Everybody's in the boat.
Gentlemen, I think on that note, I'm gonna have to bow out.
No, it works perfectly. I've got a meeting now, so that's very good.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you very much.
I've got a meeting with myself, actually.
You got a meeting. You're gonna go get your laptop now, son. Yeah?
I'm gonna go and chat to myself now.
God, that sounds horrendous. You've got a meeting with yourself, and you gotta go get your laptop. Okay.
Yeah.
I might do a Zoom call with myself. I'll get the camera up and just record myself shouting at myself.
Don't do that.
That's a whole different podcast. That's for your only fan.
Okay, join us next week, everyone. Take care of yourselves, and thank you very much, gentlemen.
Pleasure, guys.
See you later.
Cheerio.
Laters.